Hello, I am forever redeemed, the number four, ever, and a capital R on the redeemed. I am going to be sharing actually a pretty personal live message. It is inspired by the poem from Charles C. Finn, Please Hear What I'm Not Saying. And I have had this poem since I first found it when I was a teenager. And throughout my life, I've just related with so many parts of this poem. And my group, my channel is titled Post Trauma Growth, even though anybody can benefit from the live messages on this YouTube channel, Forever Redeemed. Uh, this one is a special one for those who have had challenges and struggles hiding behind a mask, the safety behind the mask. There's just so much. And so I have been preparing this message, and it is going to be a two-part message. And the first part, I'm going to be reading the poem, and then I have a little bit of a sharing. But then the part two is going to be pretty big because it is going to be taking those baby steps out of coming out from behind the mask, exposing and facing the fears and the insecurities and the vulnerability. There's just such a list of different things that come with this subject, and it's going to be pretty big for me with the different live messages that I've been doing. I have been really taking steps of healing for myself, and I've been sharing messages on rooting out what needs to be rooted out so you can have that healing. And in my last live messages that I did, a 7-part series on the power of death and life is in the tongue. The last message on there was on boundaries and assertiveness, and doing that and preparing that message, that already started exposing that there's some deep roots that need to come out in order for me to really find total internal healing. So I'm going to start this. So first, I'm going to start off by reading the poem. And so the title again is Please Hear What I'm Not Saying by Charles C. Finn. Don't be fooled by me. Don't be fooled by the face I wear, for I wear a mask, 1,000 masks, masks that I'm afraid to take off, and none of them are me. Pretending is an art that's second nature with me, but don't be fooled. For God's sake, don't be fooled. I give you the impression that I'm secure, that all is sunny and unruffled with me, within as well as without. That confidence is my name and coolness my game, that the water's calm and I'm in command, and that I need no one. But don't believe me. My surface may seem smooth, but my surface is my mask, ever varying and ever concealing. Beneath lies no complacence. Beneath lies confusion and fear and aloneness. But I hide this. I don't want anybody to know it. I panic at the thought of my weakness exposed. That is why I frantically create a mask to hide behind. a nonchalant, sophisticated facade. That facade is to help me pretend, to shield me from the glance that knows. But such a glance is precisely my salvation, my only hope, and I know it. That is, if it is followed by acceptance, if it is followed by love. It is the only thing that can liberate me from myself, from my own self built prison walls, from the barriers I so painstakingly erect. It is the only thing that will assure me of what I can't assure myself, that I'm really worth something. But I don't tell you this. I don't dare to. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid your glance will not be followed by acceptance. It will not be followed by love. I'm afraid you will think less of me, that you will laugh, and your laugh would kill me. I'm afraid that deep down I am nothing, and that you will see this and reject me. So I play my game, my desperate pretending game, with a facade of assurance without and a trembling child within. So begins the glittering but empty parade of masks, and my life becomes a front. I tell you everything that's really nothing, and nothing of what is everything, of what is crying inside me. So when I'm going through my routine, do not be fooled by what I'm saying. Please listen carefully and try to hear what I'm not saying, what I'd like to be able to say, what for survival I need to say, but what I can't say. I don't like hiding. I don't like playing superficial, phony games. I want to stop playing them. I want to be genuine and spontaneous and me, but you have got to help me. You have got to hold out your hand, even when that is the last thing I seem to want. Only you can wipe away from my eyes the blank stare of the breathing dead. Only you can call me into aliveness. Each time you are kind and gentle and encouraging, each time you try to understand because you really care, my heart begins to grow wings, very small wings, very feeble wings, but wings. With your power to touch me into feeling, you can breathe life into me. I want you to know that. I want you to know how important you are to me, how you can be a creator, an honest to God creator of the person that is me, if you choose to. You alone can break down the wall behind which I tremble. You alone can remove my mask. You alone can release me from my shadow world of panic, from my lonely prison. If you choose to, please choose to. Do not pass me by. It will not be easy for you. A long conviction of worthlessness builds strong walls. The nearer you approach me, The blinder I may strike back. It is irrational, but despite what the books say about man, often I am irrational. I fight against the very thing I cry out for, but I am told that love is stronger than strong walls, and in this lies my hope. Please try to beat those walls, beat down those walls with firm hands, but with gentle hands, for a child is very sensitive. Who am I, you may wonder? I am someone you know very well, for I am every man you meet, and I am every woman you meet. And thus ends the poem. Why do people wear masks? A first thought would be fear of rejection and judgment. Many people wear masks to avoid being judged, rejected, or ridiculed for their true thoughts, feelings, and imperfections. Past trauma. Traumatic experiences can cause individuals to hide their authentic selves as a defense mechanism, which leads them to believe that they are unworthy of being seen. Societal expectations. Cultural and societal norms often equate emotional vulnerability with weakness, especially for men. It creates a pressure to maintain a facade of composure, need for control. Some people believe that by controlling their emotions, they can have more control over their lives and interactions. They see vulnerability as a loss of control, which is often an illusion. People pleasing. The fear of being a burden or causing discomfort to others can cause people to downplay their struggles and suppress their true feelings. So, when understanding the mask, first, it is a disguise. A mask is a protective layer worn to hide pain, fear, and true emotions, and they are being hid from the world and from oneself. Another bullet point would be it can be a performance. Some masks are worn to project an image or to fulfill the expectations of others. It can be harmful. The last bullet point. The mask can actually disconnect you from your authentic self, causing you to lose yourself and to lose your sense of yourself, which would lead to emotional turmoil. I was doing a deep study for insight on this poem that I have had since I was a teenager. So basically, as far back as I can remember, I have been able to relate with so many parts of this poem. I have, however, grown emotionally, mentally, spiritually, even though I have to daily claim the mind of Christ. But I can vouch from having a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, who is my Lord and Savior. And through the presence of the Holy Spirit, He has given great assistance to feeling unconditionally loved and accepted. With people, however, There are many points that are still a daily challenge. Yet daily, I do surrender all my insecurities to Him, my God, my Father. And I have to seek His presence, claiming the mind of Christ, praying daily for His hedge of protection over my mind, which happens through giving full surrender of everything. By completely handing over the reins of my life. Only Jesus can truly heal my wounded heart. When hearing different parts of that poem, were you able to relate with any of them? Were you able to say, "Oh yeah, I can relate. Yeah, I definitely hide." And it's kind of something of how true that is. Even with my current situation of having God and my dog Mina, and I use the saying that God, through the scriptures, says that He will never leave us nor forsake us. And dog is known as man's best friend. So, uh, for my close inner circle, other than family, I have God and my dog. And because I have been alone as long as I have, I will say the idea of letting somebody come back in, that is a rather scary thought. And I think of how if somebody were to try to break down my wall, a physical person try to try to come to where I would be comfortable with them being close or into my intimate circle, it would take baby steps. It would be like approaching a fragile child, which I don't want to tell too much into my part two. But I can say from personal experience with having the wall, having that protective mask to guard and shield from people seeing the pain. I have this one meme that I really like, and actually, I should print it out and have it where I can see it every day. Because what it says, you won't heal because you pretend you're well. With my memory, I'm sure I missed a few words, but it's saying you won't heal because you are pretending that you are not sick. You are pretending that all is sunny and surface, the water is calm and smooth, like what the poem says. And the thing is, inside, actually, there are parts of me that would love to be able to socialize. I even live in a building with a lot of people, and I could easily go out and socialize. But I don't even do that for very long. I'll go in and say hello and do a brief of talking and allowing my dog to say hi to the other people in my building, but then I generally will go back to the safety of my home. So this doing these two parts is something really big and something really significant for me, and I hope that I am not the only one that can have a personal, emotional, and mental benefit from going deep into what this poem talks about. and breaking down the defensives and exposing yourself to vulnerability. And I can say, even for myself, being vulnerable, allowing yourself to be vulnerable, that isn't something that just happens overnight. And I definitely am a person that is a woman of faith, and I have a lot of faith. And and so I know that with God all things are possible, and I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. But when understanding the mask and what it holds in and what it protects, and that wall, that 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 smiling face, that confident, you learn, especially when you have suffered something from childhood. And it's really something in my part two. I talk a lot about children, the innocent, precious children. I have a real soft spot in my heart. Granted, I was in a home that built a very good and strong foundation. However, my dad did not really have a dad. So my dad, us children, was his learning. And I know my brother went through some hard times because he was the firstborn, he was the first child. So he was my dad's learning experience. And there are some things that uh, it's just quite sad. But for children who are in an environment that's unhealthy, and I don't want to talk too much about this. So, understanding the mask, the point of what I'm trying to make regarding this is that if you started way back as a child, that mask, that the facade, because you had to pretend that everything is well, you have to go to school and all that. And so many children learn to put on the front because they are told that they can't tell. And so you learn at an early age of how to wear a mask, and that is very, very sad. So that is why I start off with childhood, because ridding out that thing that is so, so deep within, it's not an easy task. And people coming in from the outside, the whole approach is so important. Listen to me. The whole approach is so important. When you are thinking of a person who has been violated, who has been abused, who has been a witness, that person has very fragile emotions, very fragile uh, boundary. And to approach that person, that's why I use the analogy of how you would approach a little baby. You would be very gentle and very tender and very soft spoken. We may look normal on the outside. A person who comes from trauma, that is on the inside. You can't see that. So I think of another meme that Robin Williams did. People don't pretend to be sick, they pretend to be healthy. So remember that and be kind. And so for somebody with trauma, we learn, especially if it's been going on for many years, we learn how to put on that brave, confident face and say, I'm okay. I'm okay. And at the ending of part 2, I actually have the lyrics to the song from Matthew West, uh, Truth Be Told. And I really like for that being close to the end because it talks about how we just get so good at playing the game of the different faces, the different masks that we have to wear. So I'm going to close this part 1 message, and I am it's kind of funny. I'm looking forward, but then I'm not looking forward because it is going to be pretty deep what I share in part 2, but it's very important. And so for that fact, I'm ready. I'm ready to go there. I'm ready to share what I put in part 2 because I want to be free and I want others to become free, to break free from that internal imprisonment, that bondage, the chains. I have so many pictures of people with their hands raised up with chains. Oops, sorry, microphone. With chains dangling because they broke free and they're like giving victory, like, yes, I'm free, I'm free. And so for many people who break free from such a deep wound, that is really, really huge. So I'm ready. I'm ready to do it because with God, all things are possible, and I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. So I know that He is going to give me strength. He is going to give me the words, and I can do this. I can share the part 2 and taking that step because that's exactly it. It is taking a step. Me even preparing the part 2 and having to go into that really deep part, that really stirred up some, this goes deep. This goes really, really deep. So it goes back. And I want freedom. I want freedom. And so I am going to share the part 2 message next. And for those who are with me and watching this, search your heart, search your inner soul, the very depths of your inner soul. Just kind of give yourself a self examination. Ask yourself, do I have anything that I am hiding that I don't want others to know or to see? Do I have different areas of roots that need to come out in order to have full healing and deliverance? Yes, take a moment and really, really become real with yourself. And then when we do part 2, I'm going to believe that we can take that step of faith together. And yes, it is a step. It may be a baby step. Just me sharing the message alone is the baby step. Like I said in my other message, the first step is awareness. The second step is acknowledgement. And then the third step is taking action, taking that step of faith. And I understand the challenge. Believe me, I do. But we can do it. Okay? So please remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. God loves you so much. He doesn't make mistakes. And You are far more precious than a priceless rare jewel. I'll see you soon in part 2. Ciao for now, and God bless.